What was the first language? How did language begin? Words don't leave artifacts behind, so theories of language origins have generally been based on hunches. For centuries, there had been so much fruitless speculation over the question of how language began. It's hard to imagine a cultural phenomenon that's more important than the development of language, and yet no human attribute offers less conclusive evidence of its origins. Now, here are some of the theories that have been considered in the origin of language. The divine source.
In Charles Darwin's vision of the origins of language, early humans had already developed musical ability prior to language and were using it to charm each other. But it's an interesting speculation about how language may have originated. It remains, however, a speculation. In the biblical tradition, as described in the book of Genesis, God created Adam, and whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. Alternatively, following a Hindu tradition, language came from Sarasvati, wife of Brahma, creator of the universe. The basic hypothesis seems to have been that if human infants were allowed to grow up without hearing any language around them, then they would spontaneously begin using the original God-given language.
The natural sound source.
Quite different view of the beginnings of language is based on the concept of natural sounds. The human auditory system is already functioning before birth at around 7 months. That early processing capacity develops into an ability to identify sounds in the environment, allowing humans to make a connection between a sound and the thing producing that sound. This leads to the idea that primitive words derive from imitation of the natural sounds that early men and women heard around them.
The Bow Wow theory.
In this scenario, when different objects flew by, making a cow-cow or cuckoo sound, the early human tried to imitate this sound. And they used them to refer to those objects even when they were not present. The fact that all modern languages have some words with pronunciations that seem to echo naturally occurring sounds could be used to support this theory. In English, in addition to cuckoo, we have splash, bang, boom, rattle, buzz, hiss, screech, and of course, bow wow. While it is true that a number of words in any language are onomatopoeic, it is hard to see how most of soundless things, for example, low branch, as well as abstract concepts like truth, could have been referred to in language that simply echoed naturally sounds.
The Poo-Poo theory.
Another of Jasperson's nicknames was the poo-poo theory, which proposed that speech developed from the instinctive sounds people make in emotional circumstances. That is, the original sounds of language may have come from natural cries of emotion, such as pain, anger, and joy. By this route, presumably, ouch came to have its painful connotations, but ouch and other interjections such as ah, ooh, phew, wow, or yuck are usually produced with sudden intakes of breath, which is the opposite of ordinary talk. We normally produce spoken language as we breathe out, so we speak while we exhale, not inhale. In other words, the expressive noises people make in emotional reactions contain sounds that are not otherwise used in speech production and consequently would seem to be rather unlikely candidate as source sounds for language.
The social interaction source.
Another proposal involving natural sounds was nicknamed the Yo-Hi-Ho theory. The idea is that the sounds of a person involved in physical effort could be the source of our language, especially when that physical effort involved several people and the interaction had to be coordinated. So human sounds must have had some principled use within the life and social interaction of early human groups. It does not, however, answer our question regarding the origins of sounds produced. Apes and other primates live in social groups and uses grunts and social calls, but they do not seem to have developed the capacity for speech.
The physical adaptation source.
We can look at the types of physical features humans possess, especially those that are distinct from other creatures, which may have been able to support speech production. Some effects of this type of change can be seen in physical differences between the skull of a gorilla and that of a Neanderthal man from around 60,000 years ago. The reconstructed vocal tract of a Neanderthal suggests that some consonant-like sounds distinctions would have been possible. In the study of evolutionary development, there are certain physical features, best thought of as partial adaptations, which appear to be relevant for speech. They are streamlined versions of features found in other primates. By themselves, such features wouldn't guarantee speech, but they are good clues that a creature with such features probably has the capacity for speech.
Teeth and lips.
Human teeth are upright, not slanting outwards like those of apes, and they are roughly even in height. Such characteristics are not very useful for ripping or tearing food and seem better adapted for grinding and chewing. They are also very helpful in making sounds such as or Human lips have much more intricate muscle interlacing than is found in other primates, and the resulting flexibility certainly helps in making sounds like p, b, and m. In fact, the b and m sounds are the most widely attested in the vocalizations made by human infants during their first year, no matter which language their parents are using.
The human larynx or voice box, containing the vocal folds or vocal cords. In the course of human physical development, the assumption of an upright posture moved the head more directly above the spinal column and the larynx dropped to a lower position. This created a longer cavity called the pharynx above the vocal folds, which acts as a resonator for increased range and clarity of the sounds produced via the larynx and the vocal tract. In evolutionary terms, there must have been a big advantage in getting this extra vocal power, in essence, a larger range of sounds, to outweigh the potential disadvantage from an increased risk of choking to death.
The tool-making source.
One of the prominent theories that theorize about the origins of language is the tool-making source. This theory is where the researchers have speculated that early humans who have started making complex tools of either wood or stone paved the way for language through various hand gestures by manipulating objects together, like striking rocks at each other. The tool-making source theory suggests that tool-making and object manipulation has a connection between the use of tools and the use of language in early humans.
Lastly, the genetic source.
Another theory by Noam Chomsky is the genetic source theory or the innateness theory. According to this theory, parents are the first persons responsible for their children to obtain language. Children have innate capacity to acquire language, therefore it is easy for them to discover and learn language through what they heard and are taught to them.
About a century after banishment of the language origin question, scientists started to consider it again, but this time using evidences from paleontology about the likely brain and vocal tract features of early humans and hominids. Rather than speculate about which kinds of vocalizations gave rise to speech sounds, they consider which physical, cognitive, and social factors must first be in place in order for there to be language. In the future articles, we'll consider more recent theories about the origins and development of language, because in linguistics, the mystery lies in the nature of the spoken word. Thank Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe.